The massive alien ships appeared without warning beyond Mars. Black and sleek, they absorbed all light like hungry demons. Earth's military satellites only spotted them when they were already too close. Admiral Sung paced the command center, his eyes fixed on the red dots multiplying across the screen. "How many?" he asked, voice tight. "Over 300 capital ships, sir. Thousands of smaller craft," replied Officer Jin. Her fingers flew across the console, sending emergency codes to Earth's scattered defense forces. The room fell silent as the first images reached them. The alien vessels were unlike anything humans had built, organic-looking with strange projections that glowed with blue energy. "They're not responding to any communication attempts," said Communications Director Yoon. "We've tried all frequencies, all known protocols." Without warning, the main screen lit up with a transmission. The alien that appeared had gray skin that seemed to ripple like water. Its 4 eyes blinked independently as it spoke in a voice that sounded like grinding metal. "We are the Dominion. Your evolutionary experiment ends today. Surrender now for processing or face immediate extinction." Admiral Sung's jaw tightened. "Send to all Earth nations. This is not a drill. We are under attack." The aliens didn't wait for a response. The first wave struck Earth's orbital defense platforms, destroying them with frightening efficiency. Blue beams cut through military satellites like they were made of paper. In the lunar colony, Dr. Min watched in horror as the research station's external cameras showed Earth's orbital defenses falling one by one. "They knew exactly where to hit us," she whispered to her assistant. "This was planned." Back on Earth, people looked up to see strange lights cutting across the sky. In Tokyo, Seoul, New York, and London, panic spread as news of the attack reached civilians. Government broadcasts urged calm, but social media filled with videos of the alien ships now visible even in daylight. The Dominion's second wave targeted military bases. Precise strikes hit command centers in every major nation simultaneously. Admiral Sung barely escaped as Seoul's military headquarters collapsed around him. "Get me to the backup facility," he ordered his driver as they sped through, streets filled with frightened civilians, "and find out if anyone has managed to damage even one of their ships." The answer was discouraging. Earth's most advanced fighter jets and missiles seemed useless against the alien shields. Nuclear missiles launched in desperation were somehow neutralized before impact. 3 days into the invasion, surviving military leaders gathered in the underground facility beneath the mountains. The room was filled with exhausted officers from a dozen nations, traditional enemies now united by a common threat. "We've lost 80% of our military capability," reported General Huan, his uniform still dusty from the collapse of his previous command post. "The aliens are now targeting power stations and water treatment facilities." Professor Kang, a quiet man with tired eyes, raised his hand. "I've been analyzing their attack patterns," he said, connecting his tablet to the main display. "Look at this." The screen showed visualizations of the alien attack formations. They attack in perfect geometric patterns. Their ships maintain exact distances from each other. Even their evasive maneuvers follow mathematical formulas. Admiral Sung leaned forward. "What are you saying, Professor?" "I'm saying their tactics are perfect, too perfect. There's no adaptation, no improvisation. It's like they're following a precise script." Professor Kang's eyes lit up with the first hope anyone had felt in days. "And anything that follows a formula can be predicted." Dr. Min, who had escaped from the lunar colony on the last shuttle, stepped forward. "I noticed something else. Their weapons target our technology in order of advancement. They hit our newest, most sophisticated systems first." A young captain named Tay spoke up from the back. "So they're prioritizing threats based on technological level? That's why they hit military installations before civilian infrastructure?" "Exactly." Dr. Min nodded. "They're fighting the war they expect to fight against an enemy that thinks like them." Admiral Sung slowly smiled for the first time since the invasion began. "But we don't think like them, do we? Humans are messy. We improvise. We do the unexpected." Professor Kang nodded excitedly. "They're perfect formations. They're predictable patterns. It's their weakness. They expect logical responses following optimal military doctrine. Then we give them the opposite, said Admiral Sung, turning to address the room. We stop fighting like a modern military and start fighting like humans always have when faced with superior forces. General Huan caught on immediately. Guerrilla tactics. Asymmetric warfare. Even better, said Dr. Min with a fierce grin. We fight like humans with nothing to lose and everything to gain. For the first time since the Dominion arrived, Earth had found a glimmer of hope. 2 weeks after the initial attack, Earth was a changed world. Major cities lay in ruins, yet the human spirit remained unbroken. In a vast underground complex beneath what used to be farmland, survivors worked tirelessly to understand their enemy. Professor Kang hadn't slept properly in days. His small office was covered with screens showing captured footage of Dominion ships. He played the same battle sequences over and over, marking patterns with red circles. You need to rest, said Dr. Min, placing a cup of tea on his desk. Look, at this, he said instead, pointing to a screen. The third ship always moves exactly 20 meters after the second. Always. No matter the situation. Dr. Min leaned closer. They're machines? No, I think they're alive. But they fight like machines, following strict protocols. His eyes lit up with excitement. And that's something we can use. In another section of the underground base, Captain Tay led a team studying alien technology salvaged from a crashed scout ship. The recovered pieces were unlike anything humans had built, with materials that seemed to heal themselves when damaged. Their tech is at least 200 years ahead of ours, Captain Tay told Admiral Sung during the daily briefing. But there's something strange about it. Strange how? Asked the Admiral. It's all perfectly efficient but completely unimaginative. Like they followed a textbook to the letter without adding any innovations. She pointed to a recovered weapon. This blaster is powerful but has no adaptability. It can't be adjusted for different situations. Admiral Sung nodded slowly. Just like their battle tactics. In the communications room, Officer Jin made a discovery that changed everything. After days of monitoring alien transmissions, she noticed they use the same codes repeatedly. They don't change their encryption, she explained to the gathered leaders. They don't expect us to break it, so they don't bother updating it. This insight led to a breakthrough. Within days, Earth forces could listen to Dominion communications. What they heard confirmed Professor Kang's theory. They discuss us like we're animals, reported Officer Jin. They call us primitive and predictable. They expect us to follow standard military responses. General Huan laughed for the first time since the invasion. They have no idea who they're fighting. The first test of the new understanding came when a Dominion patrol approached a destroyed human military base. Instead of encountering resistance from remaining soldiers, they found the base completely abandoned, except for thousands of small household robots reprogrammed to swarm and attach to Dominion ships. The aliens, confused by this non-standard tactic, followed protocol and called for reinforcements rather than adapting. This gave Earth forces time to observe their response patterns. A captured Dominion soldier provided more insights. The alien, kept in a special containment chamber, was surprisingly willing to talk once it realized humans were interested in cultural exchange. Your species confuses the Dominion, it explained through a translation device. You continue fighting after your military defeat was calculated at 99.8% certainty. This is not logical. Humans aren't always logical, replied Dr. Min. We hope when logic says we should give up. The alien's 4 eyes blinked in clear confusion. Hope is not a strategic resource. For us, it's the most powerful resource we have, she said. Meanwhile, civilians joined the resistance effort in ways the Dominion could never anticipate. Farmers used knowledge of the land to hide supplies and troops. Children collected and distributed information on alien movements. Elderly engineers came out of retirement to modify everyday items into weapons. The Dominion, expecting centralized military resistance, couldn't process this distributed chaotic response. Their ships continued to patrol in predictable patterns, making them increasingly vulnerable to ambushes. Professor Kang developed a prediction model that could anticipate Dominion movements with 87% accuracy. They follow fixed patrol routes, he explained. They can't imagine we would notice such patterns. Admiral Sung used this information to plan the first major counterattack. Rather than confronting Dominion ships directly, human forces began targeting their supply lines, which followed even more predictable routes. "We won't win through force," Admiral Sung told his officers. "We'll win through adaptability." The breakthrough moment came when a teenager named Jun, who had been a competitive drone racer before the invasion, showed military leaders how civilian racing drones could be modified to disrupt Dominion communications. "They won't expect attacks from something so small and primitive," Jun explained as he demonstrated his modified drones. "Their sensors are designed to detect military-grade threats." He was right. When a swarm of 500 modified racing drones attacked a Dominion command ship, the aliens had no defense protocol. For the first time, humans witnessed a Dominion vessel in complete disarray. As the alien ship retreated, trailing smoke, Admiral Sung gathered Earth's remaining leaders. "We've found their weakness," he announced. "The Dominion expects an enemy that thinks like them, logically, predictably by the book. Our chaotic, creative, unpredictable human nature is our greatest weapon." "So what's our next move?" asked General Huan. Admiral Sung smiled. "Something they would never expect. Operation Wildcard began at dawn. Not with military precision, but with beautiful human chaos." Admiral Sung watched from the command center as thousands of signals lit up across the globe. Fishing boats in the Pacific launched homemade rockets. Crop dusters in the American Midwest flew directly at Dominion patrol ships. Teenagers with modified gaming computers hacked into alien communication networks to broadcast K-pop music. "They won't understand what's happening," said Professor Kang with a smile. "Their battle computers are trying to find the pattern in our attack." "That's the beauty of it," replied Admiral Sung. "There is no pattern. The Dominion response was exactly as predicted. Their ships formed perfect defensive formations, protecting their command vessels while deploying fighters in textbook maneuvers. But they were defending against a conventional attack that never came. In Seoul, an elderly shopkeeper named Mr. Han led a group of civilians who released thousands of metal-coated balloons into the sky. The balloons disrupted Dominion scanning systems, creating false readings that sent alien fighters chasing shadows. "My grandson would have loved this," Mr. Han said as he watched the balloons drift upward. "He always said aliens would be confused by human silliness." Meanwhile, Captain Tay led the more serious part of the counterattack. Using Professor Kang's prediction models, she positioned a small fleet of retrofitted commercial ships near where a Dominion supply vessel was expected to appear. "Remember, they'll respond according to protocol," she told her pilots. "When they fire their first volley, don't dodge where a military pilot would dodge. Do the unexpected." The Dominion ship arrived, exactly on schedule. It launched its attack sequence, precise energy bursts in a perfect geometric pattern. But instead of evading in standard military fashion, the human pilots responded with seemingly random movements, some even flying directly toward the alien weapons fire, banking away at the last possible second. The Dominion gunners, unable to adapt to this unpredictable behavior, missed most of their targets. By the time they began recalibrating, Captain Tay's ships had closed the distance and launched their makeshift weapons. Mining explosives attached to heat-seeking modules salvaged from refrigeration units. "Direct hit," shouted Navigator Kim, as the Dominion ship's shield flickered and failed. "Their shield frequency can't adapt quickly enough to our non-standard weapons." For the first time since the invasion began, humans had disabled a major Dominion vessel. Meanwhile, Jun and his team of young drone experts launched their attack on the Dominion's communication network. Using thousands of racing drones equipped with simple signal jammers, they created a web of interference around the main Dominion command ship in Earth orbit. "They're trying to re-establish communications," reported Officer Jin, monitoring the alien frequencies. "But they're following protocol, trying the same channels over and over instead of finding new solutions." The most dramatic moment came when the fishing fleet from Busan, led by weathered old Captain Do, approached a Dominion patrol. The aliens, expecting the small boats to flee, were unprepared when the fishing vessels instead rammed them directly, their hulls packed with homemade explosives for Earth, Captain Doe said calmly before impact. His sacrifice disabled 3 Dominion fighters, creating a gap in their patrol line that allowed a team of human scientists to reach a damaged alien vessel and retrieve critical technology. Across the globe, the pattern repeated. Human forces didn't try to match Dominion technology. Instead, they used creativity, unpredictability, and sheer audacity to confuse and disorient the aliens. Dr. Min, studying the captured Dominion soldier, made another key discovery. Their species evolved from hive mind ancestors, she explained to Admiral Sung. They literally cannot think individually during combat. Each soldier follows the collective battle plan without deviation. This insight led to the development of the Mimic system, a device that captured Dominion command signals and replayed them with subtle differences, creating confusion among alien forces who couldn't disobey what they thought were orders. By sunset, Operation Wildcard had achieved what conventional warfare could not. 7 major Dominion vessels had been disabled, dozens of fighters destroyed, and most importantly, the aliens were showing signs of confusion. They're beginning to hesitate before attacking, reported General Huan, watching the tactical display. Their formations are becoming less precise. They're trying to detect a pattern in our attacks that simply doesn't exist. Admiral Sung nodded with satisfaction. This is just the beginning. Every time they think they figured us out, we'll change tactics again. In orbit, the massive Dominion command ship sent an urgent message back to their homeworld. The first such message since the invasion began. Officer Jin translated it with growing excitement. They're requesting new battle protocols, she said. Their message says, the humans do not respond as expected. They have no discernible pattern. Request immediate strategic update. Professor Kang laughed. They'll never understand us. Their entire civilization is built on predictability and logic. And humanity, said Admiral Sung, has always been gloriously illogical. 3 months after Operation Wildcard, Earth's resistance had evolved from desperate survival to effective warfare. Humans learned to fight not as a conventional military, but as the unpredictable species they had always been. In what had once been a university library, now serving as a tactical center, Admiral Sung reviewed the latest reports with growing optimism. The Dominion is retreating from 4 major cities, he announced to his team. They've pulled back their forces from Seoul entirely. Professor Kang nodded, his eyes tired but bright with hope. They can't adapt to our methods. Their tactical systems are designed to counter logical, predictable enemies. The most effective human units weren't traditional soldiers but unusual combinations of skills. Team Phoenix, led by Captain Tae, included a former race car driver, a wildlife tracker, a stage magician, and a teenage hacker. They specialized in missions that made no sense by conventional military standards, and therefore completely confused Dominion response systems. We've intercepted more communications between their fleet and their homeworld, reported Officer Jin. They're describing humans as irrationally effective and evolutionarily impossible. They can't understand how we keep succeeding with inferior technology. Dr. Min had continued her work with the captured Dominion soldier, who had been given the name Visitor. Over time, Visitor had begun to show curiosity about human behavior, something apparently forbidden in Dominion society. Why do you laugh when you are losing? Visitor asked Dr. Min during one session. Sometimes laughter is how humans cope with difficult situations, she explained. It helps us stay hopeful. Hope is not logical when statistics indicate certain defeat, Visitor replied. And yet here we are still fighting, said Dr. Min with a gentle smile. Still hoping. Something changed in Visitor's 4 eyes, a flicker of understanding. This is why the Dominion cannot predict you. You do not follow statistical probabilities. This conversation proved crucial when Dr. Min discovered that some younger Dominion soldiers were beginning to question their leadership. Their society punishes independent thinking, she explained to Admiral Sung. But our behavior is causing confusion. Some of them are beginning to wonder if their rigid approach is flawed. Meanwhile, the human resistance had successfully captured several intact Dominion vessels. Engineer Park, a quiet man who had once built custom motorcycles, led the team studying alien technology. Their ships are incredibly advanced, he explained, pointing to the organic-looking control panels. But they're designed for users who think in straight lines. Once you understand that, you can actually use their technology better than they can. His team had modified a captured Dominion scout ship, adapting its systems to work with human unpredictability. The result was the first hybrid vessel, a ship with Dominion technology but human creativity. "It's time for the next phase, Admiral," Sung announced at the Global Coordination Meeting, Operation Paradox. The plan was audacious. Instead of hiding from Dominion sensors, human forces would deliberately attract attention, but in ways that defied all logical response. Fishing boats, equipped with reflectors, made themselves appear as large as battleships on Dominion sensors. Actual military vessels disguised themselves as civilian craft. Some ships broadcast false surrender messages while preparing ambushes. When the Dominion flagship appeared over the Pacific to investigate these confusing signals, it found itself surrounded by a fleet that seemed to behave by no recognizable military doctrine. "They're trying to establish a standard engagement pattern," reported Navigator Kim from the lead hybrid ship. "But every time they adjust to one of our maneuvers, we switch to something completely different." The Dominion vessels began firing in increasingly erratic patterns, the first sign that their rigid command structure was breaking down. Some alien ships even fired on their own allies in the confusion. The most significant moment came when a young Dominion officer, captured after his ship was disabled, revealed a stunning truth. "The Dominion High Command is in disagreement," he told his human interrogators. "Some believe we should withdraw from your world. They say humans represent an unsolvable equation that challenges our most basic understanding of intelligent life." This internal conflict became apparent when a third of the Dominion fleet suddenly broke formation during a major engagement. These ships moved to a higher orbit, refusing to participate further in the attack. "They're fracturing," said General Huan, watching the tactical display with amazement. "Our unpredictability isn't just confusing them, it's changing them." In what became known as the Battle of the Islands, human forces using hybrid ships engaged the remaining loyal Dominion vessels. Instead of sophisticated weapons, they relied on constantly changing tactics, switching from aggressive to defensive postures without warning, using civilian vessels as decoys, and employing fishing nets modified with salvaged alien technology to disable Dominion engines. By the battle's end, the humans had captured 5 more alien vessels intact. But more importantly, they had proven that Dominion tactics could not adapt to human creativity. Admiral Sung watched the retreating alien ships with quiet satisfaction. They came expecting to fight an inferior species. Instead, they found something they had never encountered before: beings who see possibilities where they see only rules. "What's our next move?" asked Captain Tay. "Something they would never do," replied Admiral Sung with a smile. "We're taking the fight to them." Earth's makeshift fleet gathered in high orbit, a strange collection of vessels that symbolized humanity's unique approach to warfare. Modified Dominion ships flew alongside, converted passenger liners and fishing trawlers upgraded with alien technology. At the center was the flagship Phoenix, a hybrid creation that combined the best of Dominion engineering with human ingenuity. Admiral Sung stood on the bridge, watching Earth grow smaller below them. "6 months ago, we were facing extinction," he said quietly. "Now we're taking the fight to the Dominion's doorstep." The plan was typically human, bold, creative, and seemingly irrational. While the Dominion expected Earth to focus on defensive operations, Admiral Sung had assembled a strike force to attack the alien command carrier that controlled all operations in Earth's solar system. "Their main vessel carries their central battle computer," explained Professor Kang, pointing to holographic projections. "They rely on it for all tactical decisions. If we disable it, their entire fleet will be thrown into confusion." Captain Tay, commanding the lead attack vessel, checked her unusual crew one last time. "Remember, they expect military personnel with military training. Each of you was chosen because you think differently." Her crew included Jun, the teenage drone racer, Ms. Bay, a grandmother who had once been a champion chess player, Mr. Doe, a deep-sea fisherman, and a dozen others with no military background but exceptional creativity. "They're detecting our approach," reported Navigator Kim as the small fleet neared the massive Dominion command carrier. "They're deploying fighters in standard defensive formation." "Time for confusion," ordered Captain Tay with a smile. The human fleet suddenly split into seemingly random groups. Some vessels accelerated while others stopped completely. Some flew in tight circles while others zigzagged unpredictably. To Dominion sensors, it appeared completely chaotic. On the alien command carrier, confusion reigned. "The battle computer cannot determine their attack pattern," a Dominion officer reported to his commander. "It keeps recalculating but finds no logical strategy." "Impossible," replied the commander. "All intelligent species follow optimal battle doctrines." Meanwhile, the human vessels continued their bizarre maneuvers, drawing the Dominion fighters into increasingly disorganized pursuit. The aliens, programmed to follow specific protocols, couldn't adapt to targets that behaved unpredictably. The critical moment came when the Phoenix, piloted by Ms. Bay, suddenly accelerated directly toward the command carrier, a move so seemingly suicidal that the Dominion defenses didn't register it as an attack. "They think we're malfunctioning," Ms. Bay said calmly as she guided the ship through a gap in the alien defenses. "Their sensors can't believe we would deliberately fly toward their weapons." June's modified drones launched from the Phoenix's hold, attaching themselves to the command carrier's communication arrays. Instead of explosives, they carried Professor Kang's most brilliant creation, the logic bomb. "Uploading now," June reported, his fingers flying across the control panel. "Their systems are accepting the data packet. They think it's a communication from their high command." The logic bomb was a simple but devastating weapon, a program that presented the Dominion battle computer with an unsolvable paradox based on human unpredictability. As it penetrated the alien systems, the massive command carrier suddenly went dark, its lights flickering as the central computer struggled with information it couldn't process. "Their shields are down," shouted Navigator Kim. "All their systems are failing." Admiral Sung's voice came through the communication system. "All vessels, commence final phase." The human fleet converged on the disabled command carrier from all directions. But instead of destroying it, specialized teams boarded the alien vessel. Their mission wasn't to fight, but to reach the central communication hub. Dr. Min led the boarding party, with Visitor, the captured Dominion soldier who had come to understand humanity, at her side. When they reached the command center, they found the alien officers in disarray, unable to function without their battle computer. Visitor stepped forward, addressing his people in their own language. "The humans do not wish to destroy you. They offer terms." The Dominion commander's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. "Terms? But they cannot win. It is statistically impossible." "And yet," said Dr. Min, "here we are." The terms were simple but revolutionary. Earth would share its understanding of creativity and adaptation in exchange for peace and technological cooperation. Many Dominion officers, particularly younger ones, immediately recognized the value of such an exchange. 3 days later, Admiral Sung stood before the United Earth Council with the Dominion commander beside him. "Today marks not just the end of a war, but the beginning of a new understanding," he announced. "The Dominion came to conquer a primitive species. Instead, they found teachers." The Dominion commander spoke next, his voice translated for all to hear. "For 10,000 years, our civilization has valued order and predictability above all else. We believed these were the marks of advanced intelligence. Humans have shown us that true advancement comes from embracing the unexpected." As the peace treaty was signed, Professor Kang leaned toward Admiral Sung. "Do you think they'll ever fully understand us?" Admiral Sung smiled as he watched humans and aliens awkwardly attempting to communicate. "Probably not. But that's what makes us human. We're gloriously unpredictable." In orbit above Earth, the combined human Dominion fleet prepared for a new mission, exploring the galaxy together, each species learning from the other's strengths. Humanity had faced extinction, and emerged stronger, ready to share its most powerful technology with the universe, the human spirit of creativity, adaptability, and hope against all odds.